Fantasy is an exercise bicycle for the mind. It might not take you anywhere, but it tones the muscles that can. For Sir Terry, thank you for letting us into your world.
Shut up and sit down.
Hello and welcome to a slightly subdued VGR show. How are you, Nick?
I'm good. It's episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Yes, it is. It's the slightly good one after the 3 massive disappointments.
I made a Star Wars joke.
You did make a Star Wars joke. Well done.
That's the only time I'm ever going to make a joke. I'm not apologising for it. Yeah,
you've peaked. Right, should we get started?
Good. No. What?
First news story.
Oh, you caught me off guard by actually doing a segment into an actual thing. There's no little random discussion this today. Okay.
There's no random discussions. There's news, and all news. We've got a lot of it, so...
Okay, so Upsilon Circuit is an online action RPG, but there is only one server, and there are only 8 people in the whole world ever playing the game at one time. And when you die in the game, you can never play the game again.
We have news on an upcoming game which is called Upsilon Circuit. I don't know if anybody's ever heard about this, but it came out at PAX East. So there's news that it's a game in a nutshell that if you play it, you can only ever play it once, because when you die in the game, you can never play it again.
Okay, how is that possible for a start? Let's cover the tech first.
Okay, so what they're kind of proposing on doing, I'm guessing, is going to be based around IP bans and accounts, basically. It is a paid game. It's called Upsilon Circuit. It's an online multiplayer fantasy kind of action RPG. And the way it works is there's only one server in the game, and only 8 people can actually play it at once. And like I said, if you die, that's it. You don't play again.
This sounds as dumb as a bag of bricks.
So
am I wrong, or this sounds awful?
I don't know.
It sounds like an art piece, but as a video game concept, it sounds like a useless gimmick that will prove useless.
Yeah, the guys behind it, I think they saw the. Did you see the Twitch Plays Pokemon stuff a while ago?
Oh, was it that kind of deal then?
Yeah, so I think the guys behind it kind of got a bit like, wow, that's an amazing idea. Let's jump on that bandwagon. PC Gamer are reporting that it is a paid game, so I have no idea how much it's going to cost.
Twitch was free.
Well, yeah.
That's the problem.
So the point behind this, just to kind of give it a bit of an explanation, is so the game live streams, and they reckon that it'll be around 2 to 3 hours a day. It'll be live streaming, and the 8 people that are playing it will be, playing and doing quests and grinding and doing the usual bollocks. And then the audience that are watching it will receive XP, and they'll level up just by watching it. They can get to go and do that.
So it's an extensive trolling simulator.
Yeah, so you can kind of, because you can actually screw around with the people that are playing it as well. So you get to go down your own skill trees. You can play via the app or whatever that they're going to make with this as well. You can spawn monsters and things like that. And then basically the developers will pick. They're not saying it's quite random, but they'll pick audience members based on how often they've watched and what they've done to then play the game, and then they get one shot at it, and when you die, that's it. I guess the kind of interesting thing around it is, will you play a game differently if you know you're only going to get to play this game once?
Well, I'll play it very differently. I won't play it. I'm not paying money to have the potential to play something once. I'm terrible at video games, Nick.
Well,
this is not a... People who've seen our YouTube channel know for a fact I'm twitchy and awful and will die instantly.
Yeah, no, that's kind of true.
And stare at menus, apparently. That's something I do.
I'm not the best either, to be fair, but I like the idea, the concept behind it. It's
a very good concept for a free game. If it's free, I take all of this back and let it carry on. There was a Flash game I played years ago where the same thing, you got one go, but that was a 10-minute Flash game on Newgrounds, not a paid-for game.
I mean, again, a lot of the news sources have been a little bit sketchy about this. PC Gamer have mentioned that they're thinking it's going to be paid and not free. I'm not 100% sure that's been confirmed. You can go to the website upsilоncircuit.com. We'll have a link to it in the dump on the site as well, so you can check it out and you can register for it. Again, there's not a huge amount of information. It's a nice little, like you said at the start, I think it's an experiment. It depends on how much it costs, whether it depends on whether I'm actually going to put my time into it or not.
I'm not going to bother either way, because that's a lot of having the internet staring at you failing. That's a lot of social pressure, and I will crack and end up running in circles gibbering.
I think the worrying thing is that, like, depending on where it puts you in the game, like, you know how the first time you ever play Sonic or Mario or whatever, the level design round about the very start is key because it teaches you how to play it. You know, like the first few levels of Sonic are super fast, right? Because it teaches you how to play the game.
I think I've just about got the hang of this game, Dragon. Oh, well, that's it then.
Absolutely, yeah. You don't want to be put in if it's terrible level design, you know, you're not going to be able to play that game very well, and you're going to die straight away. So,
I hope there's a
no matter
demo.
how good you are, I don't know. So
that was a stupid joke. Right.
It's an interesting one. I might be keeping my eye on it just to see how it goes, but yeah.
Well, I'll let you deal with that.
I'm gonna be using your car.
Yeah, I am! Who the man? Ah, we're out of here! You can do whatever you want in this game. Oh, man! Destruction Derby! Is that you on my sidewalk?
Oh, shit, sorry.
Well, there's another bit of news coming out of the good old Isle of Britain, our home, our horrific history that we pretend not to look at. That's our BBC, the British Broadcasting Company, is decided to do a drama about the making of GTA, the original one, the top-down isometric jobby.
So this presumably because they don't have anything to fill the gap that Top Gear's left, right?
Well, it's more that they've run out of having to hire lawyers to go after to keep quiet all Jeremy Clarkson's horrific bigotry, but no, it's I think it's been done they're doing like a series on like tech stories and that kind of stuff. They did a drama about the Spectrum versus the BBC Micro ages ago. That
I watched that. That
Martin
was really
Freeman.
good,
That was phenomenal.
Yeah, really.
I'll try and get the name of it at the end of the show. But yeah, it's a 90-minute special, one-off. It's been described as a bunch of British gaming geniuses who know each other since their school days, who are desperately trying to get a game out, and then it's also going to cover the moral panic that GTA brought up, which. BBC do some good stuff, so I hope it's kind of BBC 4 quality, because they do some really good drama that really sort of... They did a Monty Python one a while ago as well, which was covering... A bit like this, actually. It was covering the life of Brian Fracas, so...
Did you play the original GTA when it actually came out?
Yes, I did. No, I played it on the PlayStation 4. I played it on the PS1, so I don't know how long after it came out that was. I think
that
2 was out
long.
by then.
Yeah, I got growing up with my brother, he was a big PC gamer, and I actually played GTA, the very first one on PC. I think we got it at launch actually. So the point of this is the documentary is going to go back to like 1995 during the development then of the original game, and
Probably.
look at what were they called, DMA Design back then?
Yeah, the pre-Rockstar DMC, wasn't it? Now.
I think it's ACS
DMA, yeah.
Games, I think people who published it, and then DMA Design are the people that made it.
Yes, that's the one.
Who are now
the monolith
Rockstar
bought them out.
Yeah.
Well, it should be a fun little show.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, I'll be keeping an eye out to that. I'd really like to watch that, to be honest. Any idea when it's going to come out? Or
No idea. There's no date's been given yet. So knowing the BBC, it should be anywhere between now and never.
Control transferring to pilot.
Very quick bit of news. I've literally got no information other than its confirmation, but Respawn Entertainment has confirmed that Titanfall 2 is coming out, and it's going to be on the PS4 this time, as well as the Xbox One and the PC. No previous gen though. So you can't be one of the 18 people that actually got it for the Xbox 360.
yeah, I mean, I might get slated for this, but good. I don't think it should be coming out for last gen. They need to be focusing on current gen, and it is current gen. They're not next gen anymore. They've been out too long.
Or if you're PC, just the normal gen, really.
Yeah.
PC Master Race, etc. Yeah, this is good news. Hopefully they actually have a single player in it this time, because I think having only multiplayer, Evolve's struggling with it now. I know there's bots, but it's not quite the same. But if you don't have a single player campaign, and I think the problem they've got with a lot of that kind of stuff now is that the online communities and that kind of thing is seen as so toxic that they put a lot of people off. But if you have a big single player campaign, that's the reason I bought Battlefield 4, and that's the reason I played a hell of a lot of Battlefield 4 multiplayer, because it got me into it.
Yeah, I loved.
I regret doing
Titanfall.
it now, but
I love the Titanfall game. I have the original.
I've only played it a tiny bit. So.
I thought it was very different from what it was. I'm pretty happy that Titanfall 2 is coming out. There wasn't a huge longevity on it though for me, but I
heard a lot of complaints about that. There was a lot of this is really fun. Board now.
Yeah, to a degree. Yeah, I think that kind of covers it. I don't think it perhaps had enough maps and things to keep it going as long as it should have, but I did really enjoy it. Yeah, so I covered that really.
They've said Respawn. All they've said is that it's in development, so absolutely no idea. But they've already got the tech behind it, so it shouldn't be. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't be like the 5-6 years. How long did they spent? About 3-4 years on the first one, didn't they? So
interesting that it's not going to be an Xbox One exclusive, though. I think, or
Microsoft
anyway.
just paid for the first one, and that was what it was. Never beyond that. Apparently, the Respawn guys didn't know it was going to be Xbox exclusive, and I think it hurt it. So there was a bit of a... I keep saying fracas. Top Gear's got it in my head. There's a bit of a fracas this week because Sony decided that they were the best-selling console in February, and then Nintendo turned around and said, nope, that's us, that is. They're not saying the numbers of what they sold for the PS4. They claimed it was the top, and they didn't actually say how much by or what they actually sold, so that's another usual weasel word tactic.
So are they saying globally, or... Yeah.
Yeah, globally.
Right.
The problem was that Nintendo then turned around and said, no, we were. And then they gave numbers.
Right, so then Sony presumably turned around and went, yeah, but we were better, and here's our numbers, right?
No, they just said they changed the rules. They no true Scotsman's the whole thing, and basically the numbers Nintendo gave were 395,000 3DS units were sold.
Okay,
and of that, 515,000 copies of Majora's Mask 3D, which I have to get. And 290,000 copies of Monster Hunter 4, which that's an impressive number for Monster Hunter, especially outside of Japan, which has been slowly picking up steam. Well, so what happened in the end was that Nintendo turned around and said this, and then Sony said, no, we were only talking about home consoles, which was the Xbox One and the Nintendo Wii.
Right, okay.
Which was, again, no true Scotsman counts.
So they were kind of just talking, maybe they were just talking about current gen then, so PlayStation 4 versus Xbox One versus Nintendo Wii U, right?
Yeah, but they never mentioned that it didn't include handhelds originally.
So it's one of those kind of like, oh, we've done a nice little thing here. Let's release a press release and really kind of say what we mean.
I'm surprised they didn't mention the shipped numbers, because that's another thing I hate when companies do. Yeah, we shipped all of these to retail. Well, what did they sell? Retailers.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: if you have a lot of shipped and not a lot of sold, you're not going to have a lot of shipped in the future. This is the THQ problem. This is
just to explain if you guys don't know what that means. So obviously, a lot of companies out there like to turn around and say this is the number of units we've shipped, but what that actually means is the number of physical units they've given to retailers. So they might have 1 million PlayStation consoles, and they've given it to Amazon, and whoever else you want to look at.
It's EB in America, isn't it?
Yeah. Or GameStop or whatever, but that's not the number of actual consoles they've actually sold at those places.
No,
you might give Amazon 100 million units, they might only sell 1 million. So when you're going off numbers that you say, here's the numbers of units we've shipped, well, that's not really what you've done.
No, which is why I have a lot of respect for Nintendo pulling out units sold here. I'm reading the press release now. Yeah, but it's good on Nintendo, to be honest. I mean, I know Nintendo, the Wii made them so much. Here's the thing: people have been going on about how Nintendo are losing a lot of money and how Nintendo are going to die soon. Let's face it; they made so much money on the Wii. Someone reported earlier they could be losing exactly the same amount of money as they're losing at the moment for another 50 years and still not be bankrupt. So.
Nintendo have still got a massive stronghold on the Japanese market, so it's going to take.
It's not just that they made the Wii sold so much that they've saved all this money up, and they've not gone Sony crazy on it and started funding.
Yeah,
I mean the Wii U is struggling, but it's. They need. We'll go into Nintendo another time. They need to learn a lot of things, but the problem is they've still got the handheld market in an absolute vice hold, and. Yeah, it's getting stronger. The new 3DS, I'm going to talk about that because that makes me angry. The new 3DS, I want one so much, and I hate myself for it.
Why?
Oh, I'm not paying £200 for a RAM upgrade, Nick. But I want Xenoblade.
Wait, welcome to the PC Master Race.
I know.
How does something like this happen?
See those scorch marks?
Uh-huh.
Somebody packed this place with enough gunpowder to blow it wide open. Ooh. Watch where you step. Some of these boards are really falling.
Talking of disappointments, Uncharted 4 is being delayed.
Yeah, this is actually a disappointment. The strange thing is, I don't think I played Uncharted 3, but I really love the series, despite it originally kind of starting off as a bit of a Tomb Raider knockoff. But it kind of did everything better.
It was like Nathan Cox.
Nathan Cox.
That's actually an Australian journalist. I think I've just randomly mentioned that. Then, sorry, Nathan Croft. Yeah, it was a bit like that, and especially since they released the Lara Croft update recently. But
yeah, I mean, you've got to say though that even when the first Uncharted came out, even if the premise was basically it's Lara Croft but a guy, they did everything better than the Tomb Raider games were doing at the time.
Of course.
So
it was Lara Croft, but he's actually a sweaty white dude now.
And so the Uncharted 4 is supposed to be labelled as the Thief's End, which is supposed to be the final chapter, right, of Nathan Drake's.
Yeah, it's the
career.
end of the trilogy of 4, as I like to call it. But no, it's PS4 exclusive. They've actually got Troy Baker on board to do the voice of Nathan's brother.
Okay.
It's from the. I'm not going to go for the name. Actually, no, I kind of trust Naughty Dog. They're one of the few companies I trust. But if it looks like it does on their videos, this thing is going to be absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I mean, Naughty Dog are definitely one of those development studios that if they're delaying something, it's generally for a good reason. You know, if you look at the last 6 months, maybe the last year of gaming in general, if a company's delayed it, it's not to polish it, it's to fix bugs in it, and then even then when it's been shipped, it's still been broke. But Naughty Dog generally aren't like that. If they're going to delay something, it is to polish it and to make it perfect. And I kind of reading what they're saying is that they're delaying this to really get the story right. Unless I'm reading this wrong.
They've bought a couple of guys. They had a few people leave Naughty Dog, and they've brought a few people back now. So I think they just wanted to sort of work on the story a bit, and they didn't want to have what was suggested happen to Destiny. And this is the rumour, and it might be false, so I'm not going to go into it. But where the story isn't quite there, especially since it's going to be the ending to one of their big franchises. And having played The Last of Us, I'd rather them get a story that good.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
because The Last of Us, what a story!
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. There's one thing that team does is really tell a good story, and the odd thing is that the Uncharted series has never, the story's never been fantastic with it. I mean, let's be honest.
No, but it's a popcorn Hollywood film of a video game, isn't it? But it's a good popcorn Hollywood video game. It's not.
No,
I mean, you're not going to have Schindler's List, but you're not exactly having Transformers either. It's
I agree.
the Die Hard. That's the best way I can think of putting it.
Yeah. But I mean, as you said, they're a studio that is known for making really good stories. Even like we were kind of hinting at, even if you buy Uncharted for the gameplay mechanics and the gameplay of it, really, but the story is always pretty solid. If they're delaying it to get a really good story with it as well, and they've the core foundation of gameplay is solid from the last 3 or 4 games, or how many they've been, it's a win-win combination for me. I hope it's a good thing. The reason it's being delayed, I hope it's a good one.
We stared out at the galaxy and knew that it was our destiny to walk in the light of other stars.
Right, well, I've mentioned Destiny, and I'm going to mention Destiny again, but did you know Destiny's the best game of the year?
No. That's a surprising one to me.
No, Destiny won the BAFTA, which is the British Television Award for... it's a bunch of snobby, weird people, and yeah, they gave BAFTA the Game of the Year over a lot of very good games.
Is it... The BAFTAs, I don't know if they're just a popularity contest. I mean, I don't know. I'm
not going into, Gamergate conspiracy theories here, but Activision did kind of sponsor it. Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
that's a bit dodgy. Especially, I'll read out the other games on the list. We had Assassin's Creed Unity. Sorry, I'm reading the wrong list then. That was actually the thing that it should have been nominated for, which was Artistic Achievement. What's the game of the year? Sorry, I'm looking on the official BAFTA website. This place is confusing.
So the best game in 2015 is Destiny, Monument Valley, Mario Kart 8, Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor, Dragon Age Inquisition, and Alien Isolation. That's the list.
There's
not a very good list.
No.
I mean, there's some decent games there, don't get me wrong. I mean
there's one very amazingly that should have won game there, which was Dragon Age Inquisition.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah.
Above that, Alien Isolation was phenomenal, and so was Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor, as it's known.
And I'm going to go on a limb here and might get some hate, but Mario Kart 8, Mario Kart is a Mario Kart is a Mario Kart is a Mario Kart. I love Mario Kart, but it's Mario Kart.
Nick, it's very good.
But it's Mario Kart.
It's very good, Nick.
You know what you're going to get when you buy a Mario Kart game. You're going to get a very good kart game.
You know what you're going to get when you buy a Heston Blumenthal meal, mate. It doesn't make it any less good. No, but anyway, as I was saying, Middle-earth, Shadows of Mordor, or as it's known, see Assassin's Creed Unity. That's what it looks like when it's good. Mm-hmm. Do that. I'm going to talk about Assassin's Creed Unity soon.
I'm just looking through some of the awards and stuff that's in the BAFTAs. So Far Cry 4 won 2015's Best Music in a Video Game. I can't think that's right.
No, the music was phenomenal, but actually, well, think of a better score.
Well, I don't think Far Cry 4 is that great. Nothing stands out to me about it for music.
I guess. And also you had that annoying DJ bloke half the time.
Yeah, he was on the radio talking about how he wanted to steal people's faces.
He's a knob, he is. A masturbation joke. Yeah, he's some music. That's basically, I've just summed up that entire guy.
They gave best sports game to Ollie Ollie, which is the
that's good.
Indie
I've been playing Ollie Ollie 2 lately.
Game, isn't it, or something?
Yeah. I've been playing Ollie Ollie 2 is as we're speaking the PS Plus game, and it's phenomenal. So I might do a video in it because I am terrible at this game. I'm having fun. I'm the worst human being ever.
Yeah, we are actually talking about doing a couple of YouTube series, which are basically going to be called Game Rex, where so Dan and I aren't great at video games. We've got good opinions on them, or so we like to think anyway. People like to hear them, apparently.
I'm the worst person you'll ever meet for video games. I'm good at Mass Effect. I'm phenomenal at Mass Effect. Yeah.
Do you know,
everything else.
I still remember the going back probably about, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago or whenever it was, the first time we played Gears of War together.
I'm so sad we didn't record that. Nick I'm sorry, we're not talking about the BAFTAs anymore. They're terrible. My favourite moment was there's a moment where you have to not go in the darkness because the darkness will eat you.
Yeah.
And Nick, without thinking, strolls straight into the darkness and goes, "Oh, I died. Yes, you got killed by the monster in the darkness. Oh, I didn't think that would happen."
Yeah.
Anyway, should we carry on? And then you did it again, like 10 seconds later, without realising.
This is all prefixed with because I hadn't played the game yet, and you'd played a little bit. This was all prefixed with the right, Nick. Don't go in the darkness on this level because you will die. Oh, right, okay. Nick walks in the darkness and dies.
You could have timed your watch on it. It was that quick. It was like... No, my personal favourite moment, though, was... I was taking on a few enemies and then I died. We're playing this on like normal now, so this isn't extreme difficult.
Oh yeah, we're not bragging about how good we are here.
No, trust me.
We're not wiping on the hardest levels.
We're fighting this big group of enemies and I die and there's like 2 of them left. And I'm like, do it, Nick. Be the Hollywood hero you're born to be. And you're like, I can do this. No, do the whole thing again. All right.
Yep.
Something a burglar would not want to see when he breaks into a house. Rob!
Naked grandma!
Naked, huh?
Nick, you know how I got really annoyed at that MMO, the Harry Potter MMO the other week, where it was, for some strange reason, decided to crowdfund an MMO without having the license?
I do remember, yes, with the Kickstarter deal, yeah.
Well, can you imagine that someone's done it again, and this time it's even more dodgy?
Clearly they didn't listen to our podcast.
No, but the famous... I don't understand the appeal of it. Anime series Sword Art Online. It's been crying out for an MMO for a while. Shut up. But it's a series about a massively multiplayer online game where they get sucked into the world, and if they die, they die, and it's all about relationships. And then about a quarter of the way through, the guy doing it gets bored, and it gets really terrible. And then it doesn't make any sense. And then there's a weird rape storyline that we don't really go into, and then an incest one. It's getting harder and harder to defend, isn't it, Nick?
Yeah, well, maybe that's my thing. Who knows?
There's like 2 episodes where the whole storyline is now they live in a house together. Yay!
If this sounds like fun to you, you could have played an MMO on this.
You know you couldn't have. Let's face this. Someone went to Indiegogo without the license and has decided to crowdfund a fully free-to-play MMO based on this game without the license. They hope to get it though. Okay. Part of the money is going to go towards that.
So they're crowdfunding it just on the hope of that they could get the license. Because if they don't get the license, this guy's got, what was the goal? $5 million.
$5 million. Well, we'll talk about how much money that guy will actually get. But the problem is, with Kickstarter, Indiegogo and Kickstarter, similar product, but the big difference between the two of them is Kickstarter, you will pay when the thing is funded and when it's finished. So you pledge now, and then in 30 days, if it's funded, it charges you the money. Mm-hmm. Indiegogo charges you instantly.
I did not know that.
Yes, Indiegogo is an instant. That's why a lot of people prefer Indiegogo, because you can't use fake credit cards and that kind of thing to boost the number.
Right.
Whatever money is bid is guaranteed. Yeah, Rooster Teeth did it recently with Laser Team.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with that is that this is going to fail and be scrapped. This is going to be taken down by a copyright strike. So,
I hope to God he hasn't got a lot of people on there. That's.
Well, I'll tell you how much he actually has on there in a minute, but the perks go from, I think it's $75 up to $3,500, which gives you a special thanks in the credits. You get your name in the credits, yeah. Anyway, we're not going to link it because this is a scam. Mm-hmm. We're not going to link it to this. Do not pay for this bloody thing. But anyway, luckily it appears that is useless advice, because do you want to know how much this game's raised, Nick? $5 million. He's looking for $5 million, which I should point out, you can't make an MMO for $5 million.
I'm going to hope it's not a lot, but I know Nick, people are stupid, so I don't know. Okay,
first of all, $5 million will not make you an MMO unless you made an MMO in 1990. Mm-hmm. But the actual number funded of $5 million, 5.
What, 5,000?
No, 5. $5.
My faith in humanity has been restored.
Yeah, which I think came from the bloke itself, by the way.
Good.
As of when I was doing the crowd notes, which were last night,
right?
$5 of 5,000.
Right, let me while we're doing, let me just. So I'm going to Google it, make sure.
Yeah.
Yep, still $5.
Still $5. Do you know why? Because people aren't that dumb. It's like with the Harry Potter one. You're thinking, they could change the names and they could do this kind of the other, and it's Kickstarters and they're not going to take my money. With this one, it's like, that's a scam. That's definitely a scam. Plus, if you know anything about Sword Art awfulness, you'll know that you only really get one life, and then
I've got to point out that
do you reckon they're going to make it really realistic? Like, if your character died, someone would come around your house and bump you off.
No, because that's taking that original game we were talking to at the beginning, where you play and then you die and you can't play it again. That's a whole new level.
The most dangerous game. Yeah,
you can't play life again. I'm just going to point out that it's. I'm pointing at my screen and I realise people can't see what I'm doing.
I can't see you, Nick. I'm not in the same room as you. I don't.
No,
that's double useless.
So it's not going to go well when you put in your pitch that I was in high school in 2006 and I learnt C++ and Python. Oh, that's not going to go down well, is it, when you're doing that for your pitch for your $5 million?
I had a lovely sandwich today from my mum. It was delicious. It was ham and cheese. Please give me $5 million. No, stupid. We need to constantly hunt for like copyright infringing Kickstarters, because I love these stories. They're so funny.
Yeah, I think it might work its way into at least a every couple of weeks segment or something, where it's just something crap on Kickstarter has happened.
My beautiful fiancée is an MMO journalist, so I will just have her keep an eye on these things.
Okay, I'm completely satisfied.
Don't leave, it's rude.
Hum one of the songs.
Willies, Willies, I like Willies.
I love Willies.
Oh.
I love Willies.
So, Nick, do you like State of Decay?
I've not touched it.
No, me neither. Well, that's the end of that then. They've recently decided to redo State of Decay for Xbox One, but it's the Year 1 Survival Edition. Do you know what they found when they went over the game?
No.
Nick, they found a bunch of dicks.
In the game?
In the game.
Yeah, well, I can believe that.
They found more dicks in that game than are in ISIS.
Wait, you mean actual penises?
Basically, they had to get a lot of out-of-company help, a lot of contractors in, and some of the contractors decided to hide phallic objects in the textures. Quite obviously as well. This is like this would have been like Hot Coffee 2 if they hadn't have found it.
Mm-hmm. I want to just say for a record, the reason I haven't played this game, because it's a zombie survival game, and I've had my fair share of them, and I don't need to play another one anytime soon.
No, who would play something like that? I'm playing Dying Light at the moment. But no, Microsoft has said that Undead Labs were not aware of the textures in question and have begun the process of exporting the textures for State of Decay, and they are not visible in the original version of State of Decay, and Undead Labs is no longer working with the contractor in question. Please stop asking us about penises. I might have added the last bit, but this is a wonderful story because I just like it when any story begins with, "Hey guys, guess where we found a bunch of penises?"
Yeah.
And as long as the answer isn't in your bin, then everything from there is an advantage.
I actually thought you just meant there was a load of dicks playing the game or something.
No, you're thinking about all of Warcraft looking for raid there. That's a World of Warcraft joke.
I don't understand.
No, you don't. Oh, how am I going to... All the people playing... What's a game you hate?
I don't know, but you'll find out next week on our worst 5 video games of 2014. That's a segue.
That's a segue. Yeah, we'll quickly describe that. I'm getting married next week, so we're doing a podcast now and putting it out then. We can't do a new show on account of We Are Not Psychic.
Yeah.
So we're doing our top 5 for 2014, only 3 months late.
Yeah, well, but it's going to include and remember, it will be an opinionated list.
It will be. It's not the definitive list. We haven't been paid by any major companies. We are willing to accept payment. Put your list at number 1.
Yeah.
Look, talk about ethics and game journalism. We are completely corrupt. We will do anything for money, and I mean anything.
I'm not. Well, anything's a strong word.
I
like you, but I don't want to touch you. Put it that way.
I won't play Kane and Lynch 2.
I'm open to a hug.
Oh, shut up, you whore. Anyway, should we say what we've been doing this week?
I've spent some time sleeping. I had a good Chinese in the middle of the week.
Nick, shut up, video games.
Oh, right. Okay.
This week, I have been mostly...
This week, I have mostly been playing, yes, that's the segue, Destiny. Again. And again. And again.
I haven't... I only played the beta of Destiny. I never really...
Well, you played a good chunk of the game, then.
Oh, well, there you go. I
played 1/4 of the game.
I enjoyed it, but I got the hint that it was like, I can't see how there's going to be an awful lot more to this. And then
no, I should have and didn't. Because I played the Earth campaign, and then I played the first mission of the Moon campaign, and I thought, oh, wow, 2 of the 8 planets they're going to have.
Right.
Oh, no, Daniel. Oh no, you are wrong in that assumption. Anyway, I want to talk. I've played I've had 100+ hours of this game. I'm not coming into it. I've done the first raid. I've not done the second raid. I've not had a chance yet. I've finished the new expansion. I've played this game through and through.
Okay, so you've got a lot of mileage.
I've got a lot of mileage of the game, and I think that's my main conflicting point about this game. It's just that it's the worst thing you cannot stop playing. It's not terrible. It should be better than it is by a mile. It's not great by any sense. It's okay. It's 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10. I'm just gonna ramble for a tiny bit because this game is frustrating. That's the best way I can think of putting it.
Right.
The meat and the potatoes, the gameplay of this game is phenomenal. It's Bungie, the guys behind Halo, the original Halo series, not the new terrible ones, and it's just such a wonderful, fluid gameplay. It's got the best punching in any game ever. The best melee. It's guttural. It's quick. As a shooter, it's perfect. The guns all feel good and interesting and different, and you've got a bit of choice here and there. The way you get them is terrible, but I'll go into that. But outside of that,
well, you say the way you get the guns is terrible, and you don't want to get into it. But I mean, I don't. So I've heard the pretty random, really low. Rolls or something? Do they do rolls for the weapons?
No, everyone has their own unique loot. Basically, the idea is that after you get past the green state, there's 4 stages of weapons. There's white, green, blue, purple, and exotic. 5. Sorry,
is this being the rarity scale? Right?
The rarity, yeah. So there's your green through orange MMO standard.
Yeah,
and the greens are all terrible, but you guaranteed to get them. But everything up there, you get something called an engram, which you take to the bloke and has a random chance of giving you something. Yep. This bloke is he's an asshole. And it's RNG. The raids do drop loot. The raids drop solid loot, but even then it's a random chance. And there's a lot. the big problem with it is that you end up more times than not with this sort of, you finally get this shiny, they've improved it a bit, but you get this amazing shiny drop, and it's like, I've got a legendary engram, I'm going to go back and I'm going to get my new weapon, and then you go and it's like, oh, it's some crafting materials. Oh,
right, okay.
Or it's it's for a completely different class to the one I'm playing, or it's No Land Beyond, it's the sniper rifle that no one uses. Or
can you so if I go to the guy with the engram to sort it out, do I get my stuff instantly? There's no wait or anything.
Yeah, you click on it and it's bing, pops up. You've got to go to the guy though.
Okay.
But just talk a bit. The problem, I think, and I'm writing a piece on this at the moment because it's just there's so much that kind of that went wrong and could have been better and all this kind of stuff. But the biggest problem with it is, first of all, I think they tried to do an MMO when MMOs have changed a lot.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I remember the hype when Destiny was coming out. This is the
I was
FPS
a bandwagon
MMO.
carrying. I was this is it wasn't just that. This is Bungie's new game. This is Halo MMO. That's what everyone was saying. That was the big thing.
Yeah.
And the problem with the actual gameplay wise is that it's a lot of repetition, and I know that I play WoW. There's a lot of repetition in that game, but there's different varieties of repetition. Like, you can farm raids, you can farm instances, you can do old content, you can do now garrisons. It's repetition. It's the same meals. Like, every week you get the same meals, but there's like 10 meals, so you can mix and match on different days. So this one, it's gruel every bloody day. Well, I mean, it's gruel with a steak.
That's the reason why things like Battlefield are so popular. So I mean, I'd put that kind of like that. That it's very repetitious, but you can just do different game modes, and it changes up the game style a little bit.
Yeah, it's the multiplayer is very good. It's a bit unbalanced and it's a bit cheap every now and again. But you show me a first-person shooter that doesn't have that, and
I guess so.
The multiplayer, it's your classic Halo matchmaking multiplayer. There's nothing. There's a couple of special events in there, but there's no real MMO elements there. There's no kind of like rated arena teams or anything like that. But
so going back to the weapon drop thing, what you were saying, was it the engrams? Is it?
Yeah, engrams.
Why the hell do you think they put that in?
I think they wanted to kind of copy WoW in a way.
But why not just give you the gear straight away?
Yeah, I'm regretting saying that. No, they're not. The only system I've really seen use it is PSO back in the day, where they had the question mark boxes. But
blast from the past.
It's a blast. I played way too much PSO. No, the other biggest problem with the game, and it's something I think for me, is the fact that the story is awful. But it isn't. It's a great story. They just have no intent on telling you that story. None.
Right. Okay.
If you want to learn the story, right? Here's an idea. You have a little ghost with you who's voiced by Peter Dinklage, who has the voice of a man who's been paid to do something he's not that interested in. We're in a world now.
So he sounds like you.
I'm not paid for this, mate. We're in a world now where you have people like Jennifer Hale and I'm going to say Freddie Prinze Jr. He's a phenomenal voice actor. Or any of you've got these voice actors who are great at what they do, and they're perfect for this kind of job. And you go for these celebrities. What really hurt Elder Scrolls Online, where they've got all these amazing voice actors, and then you get into the game, and some of them are good, but some of them just sound very robotic and very, Peter Dinklage, he very much sounds like this. But the big problem with the story in the game is that it has no intent on teaching you, and seems to revel in this fact. To learn the story behind the characters, you need to log out, go to their website, and read on there, because they have these little cards called Grimoire cards.
Right. So you're not going to learn it through quests, really?
No, but here's a perfect time. There's one point where you've just met a brand new kind of enemy, and he's like, Peter Dinklage turns around and goes, "Oh, they're the Vex. Everyone's afraid of them, and they're really nasty and mean." And then you fight a load of them, and they're all called goblins and weird stuff like the robot race. And then someone turns up, and she says a line to you which perfectly sums up this game, which is, "I don't even have time to tell you why I don't have time to tell you what this is." It's like, yes, you can do. I paid £80 for this game.
Writing. My God, that's so lazy.
You finished the game. I finished the game, and apart from having a vague idea of what the main good guy is, the guy called Big Planet thing called the Traveller, having a very, very vague idea of the main enemy group, I have no idea why they're called this, what the reason they're there for, who they worship, all of this stuff that... It's not very subtle, but a journal system, like a Mass Effect, click on it and...
Yeah.
You don't have to have Peter Dinklage read a load of cue cards. You
So
can have anyone do it, or just have the text. Have the Grimoire cards in game. It's so frustrating to have to look up.
So there's no lore in this game.
There's
in the
phenomenal
game
lore.
that
Yeah.
you can't. You're not going to get emotionally invested into it. It's
No.
not like even if you look at WoW, there's a hell of a lot of lore with that you can just spend ages in game devouring.
The joy with WoW is that they tell you what you need to do, and then they put the quest. It's like the top of the quest. It's like Baron von Saberteeth wants you to kill 15 rats, and then below it's like his story about how rats murdered his wife.
Yeah, I was going to say that because we talked about this on a couple of podcasts before, where obviously I'm not a huge WoW fan, but I have played it, and I have played it, right when it was not when it was first out, maybe a year or two after it came out.
I think you played during the 30s. So you played about 4 years in.
And then I came back with the Cataclysm beta, and then. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is, what I'm trying to get at is that the lore in the game is that even though, because all the expansion packs, they kind of change the backstories and they add new lore into it and things, and even coming into it at this stage, you can learn and you go, oh, so this is this guy, and even if you're in a guild, there's like, oh, I was doing this quest for this guy, and you go, oh, wait till you get to another quest later, you'll learn a little bit more and stuff. That's really cool because you're not just running around playing the game for the sake of playing the game. You're learning more about it and you're getting more invested into it, whereas it sounds like what you're saying with Destiny is the reason to play it is just kind of for the gameplay, and that is a generic FPS.
This is the last thing I'll say. This is the other big problem with the game is that there's 4 main worlds and they're very, very similar. There's a bunch of dungeons. The big problem as well is that some of the dungeons are not available on the Xbox One yet, and I'm a PS4 gamer and that annoys me.
Yeah,
and because Sony signed some stupid deal with them, the other thing, it's a lot of repetition. It's a lot of doing the same thing over and over again, and there's not enough of it to be that interesting. There's a couple of missions, but the raid is where the game comes into its own. Vault of Glass, I played it, and they don't tell you; they just go, and you've got to learn, and you've got to learn through trial and error, and it's phenomenal stuff. You've got to find your way around this raid. There's a load of different mechanics in the raid bosses, and you suddenly you go, this is the game I wanted to play. And I've not done Crota's End yet, the other raid. They're 6-player raids. A raid is a multiple person group for people who don't really know MMOs, and you feel, and you just sort of go, why couldn't this have been the other game? Why couldn't this have been the solo experience? Because you have to find a group outside the game, or you have to know people. You have to find 6 people manually. In Warcraft, they do a thing called Looking for Raid, which automatically assigns you a group. The version of the raid doesn't drop as good loot. It's a bit easier, but it lets you see the raid. It lets you experience the content, even if you're not getting the same as the people who've got like 20 dedicated hardcore raiding team people.
Yeah.
Well, but they just don't let you do that. And there's the weekly and Nightfall raids, which are 2 very difficult raids. 5-man groups. 3-man groups. Wow, in my head, 3-man groups. They don't let you group up with that, and it gets very frustrating from the solo player.
Is there guilds and stuff in it?
Kind of. You've got to go through the website to do them, and they don't really give you anything. You can't chat in the main world without being in a fire team with people or joining a fire team channel.
Really?
Yeah, and then you can only voice by it. You can't have a keyboard.
I kind of remember that from playing the beta. Actually, you can just kind of emote at people, right? And that's kind of it.
Yeah, and it gets very annoying when you're looking for something and you can't communicate with these people. It's fixed a bit now because you can join universal chat channel, but even then, it's very limited in what you can do. And usually, it's being spammed by someone who's decided it's still very funny to do, and they're going to give you up into their earphones.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of one of those ones where if you're a newbie trying to get into the game and you're looking for something or you're not really sure where something is...
read a guide. That's it.
Read a guide, right. It's 2015.
The very last thing I'll say is there's 2 expansions that I've got pre-ordered because I bought the Guardian pack because I'm an idiot. The first one that came out was... It was a £20 expansion, Nick. How long do you reckon it took me to complete, apart from the raid, which I can't do because all my friends quit playing?
£20 expansion.
Like £30 expansion for Warlords of Draenor, or the new Warcraft expansion. I've got a considerable amount of time in that, and they're going to be releasing content for the next year for it. So for £10 less, what do you reckon I'll get?
I'm going to put my conservative hat on and probably say, I don't know, maybe 10, 20 hours.
10, 20 hours. 2.5. I finished everything in 2.5 hours. I finished the story, I did all the upgrades, I got the gun.
Wow.
And I did both of the new raids. One, if you got the Xbox. One of the new 5-mans who did
that Destiny
Xbox.
expansion is a cheap hooker, basically.
It's so disappointing. It was crushing disappointment. And they've got a lot of complaints. They've got a lot of stuff which they don't do right. You can't skip cutscenes. You can't skip cutscenes. I'm going to say that twice because it's a big point. If it was a brand new studio, I'd be a hell of a lot more forgiving. If this was Bungie's first game, because as I said, as a game, it's phenomenal. It's a very fun game, and I still think it's worth it. I've got 100 hours into it.
This is a game by a studio who's got a massive pedigree. This
is a game by the studio that did Halo Reach, Nick. Mm-hmm. That game is phenomenal in every way, shape, and form. And it's so straight. I mean, there's Halo. There's a game series that has a hell of a lot of lore and tells you it in game. The first few games, they keep mentioning Reach in Halo as this big sort of disaster that happened, and then they tell you what Reach is in the game, and it's such a subtle way of telling the story that they've got in those kind of games, and they just abandoned it. And I'm gonna ramble for another week about Destiny. It's the should-be king of MMOs, but it really isn't.
Well,
and it ends up being a bad MMO and an average shooter.
I wonder if it's... I could be wrong, but I wonder if this is a case of... sometimes you get it when you get a studio who's an exclusive to one company, and Bungie were essentially, a right wing of Microsoft, damn near. They were Microsoft Studios for 7 years, give or take. I wonder if this is a case of they have all these ideas that they've got, and Microsoft were acting as a filter.
For our wrestling friends, the Vince Russo scenario.
Yeah, exactly. The Vince Russo.
For our non-wrestler friends, Google him. He's hilariously awful. Yeah.
The premise is that you have a guy that has loads of ideas, and you need to have a filter. In wrestling, it would be Vince McMahon. You have the filter in front of you that can filter out the crap. So you end up with only the good. So with Bungie not having that filter, maybe this is what's going to happen: is that they're going to have fantastic ideas, but they're going to come up with some crap too. So,
well, we'll wait and see. I think what they need to do now, they're part of Activision, it's Activision Blizzard. Let's put it that way. Mm-hmm. I think that they need to get a couple of guys from Blizzard, not to work on it, just to executive produce at most, but they need to go down to Mike Mulhane and go, can you please come to our offices for an hour, please, and tell us what we're doing wrong? Or they need to just forget about the MMO thing and just make... Because if this hadn't just a single player with a structured, even corridor campaign, it would be one of the best first-person shooters out there. But as it is, it's
that's
so
not what it's supposed to... Yeah, that's not what it's supposed to be.
It's trying to be... It's trying to wear two hats, and it just looks like an idiot with two hats on. Mm-hmm. That's the best description I've ever described anything as.
I like the hat analogy.
Nick, what the hell have you been playing? Because I've just wasted half the show on that.
Well, so there's two things really this last week I've been picking up on. Both are... Well, one's a kind of newish game, and one's a bit of an old series that I really adore. So I'm going to start with the one which I did a YouTube video on, which is Grab Them by the Eyes. Have you seen anything
strange.
of this?
I've watched your video. It looks weird.
So this is a game by Terry Kavanagh. If you're not aware of who he is, he did VV, however many. There's 6 V's in that. I don't know how many you're supposed to say. And he also did Super Hex as well. Yeah. But he's got a bunch of freeware games he's got on his website on terrykavanaughgames.com. And one he just released recently was Grab Them by the Eyes. And it's a really cool little flash game. It takes maybe 20 minutes or so to complete, but it's probably one that's going to eat up about an hour of your life at least. The premise behind it is that you're basically a fast food vendor, and a company comes along and they start selling fast food right next to yours, but they've got a massive sign. And you go, holy crap, I don't like the idea of you guys selling fast food right next to me. And you have a competition, and whoever gets the most, serves the most customers in a week, basically wins. And you're upgrading signs through your cards that you're buying and things like that. It's a really cool little mechanic.
So it's a sign fighting game.
Yeah, in a kind of a way, yeah. It's a really nice little mechanic. I really enjoyed it. If you haven't played it, it's free. It's definitely worth picking up. You will waste at least an hour of your life playing it, because it's not easy. It's a lot of randomness to it, to be fair. It's one of those ones where you go into every day you can buy before every day, you can buy your signs and things, and you can change the colors and things, and the fonts, and the framing and the animations and stuff. And each one you buy brings in more customers, but you only get $50 for each day that you play. And you can buy up to, say, 5 cards, and one might cost 10, one might cost 20, one will cost 30, one will cost 40, one will cost 50. And the 50 one might be the best one, but the $10 one might be the best one. So you need to pick what you need, and you might buy one, then they'll buy one, and you're working your way down from that, basically. Then once you bought your signs, you go into the game, and then from there you're basically just trying to get the most customers over a week. Like I said, it's such a simple mechanic. There's not a lot to it, but it's a really fun game.
This game, is it?
Absolutely free. Yeah. Go play it. I certainly recommend it.
Nick did a Let's Play in it on the YouTube VGR show.
Yep. And
it's about 50 minutes long, and it's bloody confusing, that game. But it's very simple. But I think I watched it when I just came home from work, very tired. So I don't think I'm the best judge.
It's definitely going. It's one to play for yourself. Like I said, a single playthrough of it will take 15 minutes. It's one that you'll probably play for at least an hour, just because. Like I said, it's kind of a randomization to it, to whether you're going to win or not. It took me about an hour to complete the game, and I actually drew as well in it, and you get roughly a very similar kind of ending. I don't want to spoil anything. It's a good ending to the game, but it's fun. It's more of Terry Kavanagh, the stuff he does. I mean, if you've played the VVV or Super Hexagon and stuff.
I've played Super Hexagon. I've played that, but VVV I played for a tiny bit. But he's a bit of a madcat, that guy, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's got
very addictive, very simple games, though.
Yeah, very much so. He's got Naya's Quest as well, which I might be doing a Let's Play on. We'll see. The idea of that one is that you.
I'm the AAA guy. Nick's the indie guy. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
let's put it another way. Nick's got a computer you can actually capture on.
And you've got a subscription to was it Boomerang?
Yeah, I've got a subscription to Boomerang,
which is how you get most
budget
of them,
gaming.
Yeah, but he also did Naya's Quest, which is like an isometric game, which is really clever. You get into the story and you pick up this thing that changes the perspective of the map and things, so you fall through things that you think are there and stuff. It's he likes to make you look at the world and think of it a bit differently to how it is. It's very simple, clever games. I really enjoy them. So,
and if you die once, you can't play ever again.
Yeah.
If a bigger restaurant closes, it's gone.
Game 2 this week is Goodbye Deponia. I have no idea if you know anything about this series.
I know that you just mentioned it just then.
Cool. Okay.
That's the limit of my knowledge, I'm afraid.
Right. Okay. So
school me in this game, Nick. What is it?
Okay. So it's a point-and-click adventure. I'm a massive point-and-click adventure fan. It's made by Daedalic Entertainment, and they kind of mainly do turn-based games and adventure games. And the main thing they specialize in
the more sort of niche, older-fashioned games. Then.
Yeah. Things that
I mean, I say niche with point-and-click, but Telltale's defining to break that at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, they specialise in stuff that was huge 15, 20 years ago. Point and click was at its peak then.
Before the Fire Nation, and by Fire Nation I mean murky brown shooters attacked.
I mean, Daedalic, they're probably also really known for, I think they did Divinity, Original Sin, and Blackguard as well.
I have heard of Divinity, Original Sin. I think that's phenomenal.
Yeah, so it's very good, and that's a turn-based isometric RPG as well, and it's had fantastic reviews. Very good game, and so they're behind that. Anyway, Deponia, which is what I've been
popular, your Civilization kind of jobbies then, just for people who.
A little bit, yeah. So the Deponia series, I've been playing Goodbye Deponia, which is the last one that they did. But the Deponia series is a point-and-click adventure. Basically, you're cast as a guy called Rufus, and
Sam.
he's no, he's
actually less funny then.
He's fantastic. I don't know where to go with this now.
We've been friends too long. Carry on, Nick.
So Rufus is cast as this character who's basically hates the world he lives on, and he wants to get away from it. And the world is called Deponia, and he wants to get away from it and go to another place which looks a lot better, which is called Elysian. And he meets a woman called Goal, and it's basically about your journey about trying to get away from Deponia and the evilness that's there and the people that are trying to do things to it. I don't really want to say too much about the story because it's a wonderful story. It's got to be up there as one of the best point and click stories I think I've ever played. And
we'll keep it brief then. I think the thing about the point-and-click adventure is, I mean, let's face it, the gameplay's 10% maybe of the actual reason you play. It's all about the
journey.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favourite games of all time is the two Walking Dead games, and they are, as a game, that it's the opposite of Destiny. It's one of the worst games I've ever played, but it's phenomenal because the story is so good. So I think that's what most first-person clickers. Oh, I want to make one of them now. If
there's anybody out there that's a point-and-click fan that hasn't, maybe heard of Deponia or has heard about it and not sure about it, if you're a fan of the Monkey Island series, then you'll really like Deponia. It's got that same kind of...
That's a big statement there, Nick.
Well, you really will like it. It's got the same kind of humour, the same kind of gameplay mechanics, the thought process behind having to combine things and do things like that. It's very similar. Sometimes it kind of does make a bad joke and then does repeat the bad joke, but then it kind of starts getting funny. But if you're we did the prologue of this show to Terry Pratchett. If you're a fan of Douglas Adams, maybe Terry Pratchett. If you like their kind of stuff,
snarky British humour.
If you're like the fan of their kind of worlds that they like to create and that kind of humour,
snarky but
you
very
will like it.
lovingly crafted. Then
yes, yeah, very much so, and you get a sense that it's been very well put together. I think especially by a small German studio, really, when they did the first few games.
I'm willing to forgive a lot in a video game if I can tell that someone's put a lot of love into this game. I'm going to talk. There's a game on my list next month that kind of next week that kind of personifies that. But if I'm willing to overlook a lot in a video game, if you can tell this game was made with love, and this seems like that kind of deal, then I might give that a try. It's not very taxing on computers, is it?
No, not at all. No, it's a point and click adventure basically. I think it's made in Christ. This is going to annoy me that I can't think of the name of it.
Unity?
No, it's not Unity.
Oh,
it
Jesus.
is Vision. I think it might be Visionaire Editor, which is I think it's free. Don't quote me on this, but I think if it isn't, it's very cheap.
You've got a very good excuse to go back and play it now and put it on the website.
Yeah, but it's a wonderful game. Voice acting done very well as well. Yeah, PC. I'm not sure if it may be out on Mac and Linux now actually as well.
Oh, I see. Good.
Yeah, it's definitely out on Mac actually because I was playing it on my Mac.
Very much the Nintendo Wii of the PC gaming world.
Yeah. But the voice acting is also really good in it. I think Kerry Shale voices Rufus, who's the main character. They actually did what kind of things was Kerry in? Just Cause 2, Drive of San Francisco. So it's been in some big stuff, and then they've got some decent characters in there. I think the guy the person that plays Goal is she did a part in Mass Effect 3. Sam Traynor.
Yes, she's a very good voice actor.
So, same person that did that. So, they've
kind of British accent, right? Quite a British accent.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah, it is. Yeah, but it's.
I believe she's your lackey in the game.
Lackey's kind of. Yeah, I will go with that. It's definitely one of those stories where, like I said, you want to play it yourself. It tells a very nice story towards it. I haven't finished it yet, but because it's a trilogy. Goodbye Deponia is the last one. I'm getting through that at the moment. But the first two, completed them, loved them. I can't say enough good things about it. It's worth telling the story and kind of going through it just to find out what happens. It's one you'll get very. We were talking about with Destiny. There wasn't a lot of emotional investment in it. You'll get invested in this one.
That sounds. I might give that a try at some point then, when I'm not playing through turgid zombie ups.
You're saying that humans need fantasies to make life bearable?
No. Humans need fantasy to be human. To be the place where the falling angel meets the rising ape.
With tooth fairies, hogfathers.
Yes. As practice, you have to start out learning to believe the little lies.
So we can believe the big ones?
Yes. Justice, mercy, duty, that sort of thing.
They're not the same at all.
You think so? Then take the universe and grind it down to the finest powder and sieve it through the finest sieve, and then show me one atom of justice, one molecule of mercy. And yet, You try to act as if there is some ideal order in the world, as if there is some rightness in the universe by which it may be judged.
But people have got to believe that. What's the point?
You need to believe in things that aren't true. How else can they become?
Bit of a sad week, obviously. Terry Pratchett wasn't a massive part of the gaming world, but he did venture into it every now and again. But if you're a modern fantasy fan in any kind of way, then he's touched, his work's touched you. And if you've never read his books before, I'm not mad, because you've got a hell of a thing waiting for you.
Absolutely,
so I'd start with The Colour of Magic and then The Light Fantastic. That's his first two big books, and they're two of the funniest, wittiest, warmest, kindest, and good fantasy.
One thing I'd say very quickly, so with Terry Pratchett on the Discworld series, just worth pointing out, yes, there's a huge amount of books. Don't get scared by that.
No.
You can basically pick it up at any point and go with it. It does a very good job of...
It's a lot of little series, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. There are, I think the best thing about those books is that you can pick them up anywhere, and the book always does a very good job of, even for a new person, it does a very good job of reintroducing characters
itself,
and
yes.
going, oh, who's this guy?
In a way that makes reading the different books it's a very good explanation in every book, because he changes it a little bit but keeps the core the same.
Yeah.
And he's a loss, isn't he? That's a loss.
Yeah, very much so. Also, to kind of, don't want to end this on a bad note, on an upsetting note, so moving it into a little bit of a better one, we're probably going to be doing some Let's Plays of the games he's actually released. So there's obviously the Discworld series, I think there's 1, 2, and also there's Discworld Noir, which is a really good point-and-click adventure.
I hear very good things about that one. Nick's going to be playing that, not me, because I'm going to be playing awful video games. I'm going to be playing good video games that I'm terrible at. So
I'm going to be screwing around with DOSBox trying to get this to work first.
Yeah. I check good old games for that, mate. There might be a few of them up there.
Good point, yeah. Anyway,
I'm going to be doing a Heroic Nightfall raid in Destiny on my own, and anyone who's played one of those knows, and anyone who's seen me play games knows, that's going to be a very short video.
So I'm looking forward to that one.
Where can you find yourself, Nick?
So you can find us at VGR Show. If you want to follow us individually, I'm at RealNickB.
And I'm at Dan Ryu, and Ryu has 2 Y's because I'm special.
And don't forget to subscribe to us on iTunes. You can also listen to us on SoundCloud, and we've got a reasonably good following going on YouTube already, which is pretty good news.
We might not be putting the full podcast on YouTube anymore because it's just a logistical nightmare.
Yes.
And no one listens to them there.
No,
you'll find our gameplay videos there. I'm getting fibre optic in the week, so I'm getting married and fibre optic. Well, hey. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to at JDeer on Twitter, because she's lovely, and You're not
going to cut this part out, right?
You're editing, so Nick's going to make it. It's going to be like, lovely shout out to at JDeer. I hate her. No, I'm going to be getting married next week, so expect the show to be a pre-tape. Pre-tape is a podcast because it's bloody pre-tape. That's a stupid thing to say. Anyway, should we end before I make myself look even dumber than I already am?
Yep. Bye, friends.
Bye, friends. Thank you, Sir Terry.